back for 2 in one fucking day. Got the man Joe Baize coming on here with me in a second. Before I do that, let's give some love to Liberty Ammunition, my favorite sponsor. Badass. Liberty Ammo. The only round that I carry for defensive shooting, I carry the 9mm ultralight, and I 100% would bet my life on it. If you're looking for some of the best ammunition in the game, great prices, half the weight, twice the velocity, go get their 9mm ultralight. Any of their defensive rounds are fucking amazing. Sorry, I'm trying to share this shit now too, so we can get lots of views for my buddy Joe. But yeah, as I was going to say, if you're in the market for ammunition, defensive rounds, any of that stuff, you have to go with Liberty Ammo. Like, the only other stuff I've ever carried was the Gold Dot, same shit the cops carry in their firearms and stuff like that. But Liberty Ammo is a local Bradenton-based company. My buddy Nick Norton's family runs it. One of my students, great fucking guy, and his whole family's fucking amazing. I love the company. So make sure you guys show some love, show some support, because I wouldn't be doing this shit without them. So let's get on here with my guest, Joey Bear Baize, coming off a win on Fight to Win. There's my fucking lovely bear. Look at you. Hey, fucking gorgeous.
Up, yeah.
What's up, dude? So,
quite shit.
Have you slept yet?
Me? No, not yet, but it's cool.
Are you fucking serious?
Right. Man, that's just how it works out.
All right, so tell everybody what you told me, because I texted you before your match. I'm like, how are you feeling? You're like, oh, I haven't slept. How long did you go without sleeping?
It was a little bit over 30 hours, but man, it's just how it works out,
So you went from the coal mine, got on a plane, flew to Texas, beat a guy up 30 seconds, flew back, and you still haven't slept.
Well, I mean, that night, of course, after it was over with, I slept. After I, had a little fun, but.
So what was it like? Because they're still not doing fans, right? They're doing no fans?
They had a few there. I'm not, I mean, it was like a set amount, though. It wasn't like a packed place, So I think they had like 50 fans or something like that.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Still got a little bit of a crowd in there.
Yeah.
So you subbed them in like 30 seconds. When the fuck am I going to see you like in a longer match?
Well, man, I think a lot of that one had to do with him. I don't think he took me that serious.
That's the story of your fucking career.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't guess he has the internet or something. I don't know.
I guess he doesn't have the internet.
Yeah.
So where was this guy from? Because I didn't do any research. Like, I saw you were grappling some other guy. I'm like, okay, cool. Joe's going to win in like 30 seconds.
Well, he's from Colorado. I mean, I was concerned about him. I still think he's really good. I'm, not downplaying him, but like, I contacted Seth at first. He didn't know that I'm up like heavy now, and he was like, man, you're that heavy. And I was like, yes, I'm heavier, but I'm a different heavy than what I used to be,
Yeah.
Like of course I'm chubby, but I put on like a bunch of muscle and stuff.
Yeah, dude, you're looking fucking jacked.
Well, for me, I am, like I'm never going to be like super cut or whatever, but I got that. I don't know. Eventually, I'd like to look like one of those 70s pro wrestlers or something, but
I'm right there with you.
Till then. Yeah. But, I actually had to send him some pictures of me from like a Submission Underground. It was like where he just knew I wasn't like a roly-poly. I am chubby, but I, put on a considerable amount of muscle from what I used to be when I weighed this weight. So then he, set the match with me and this guy, and he's like, he's super tough and everything. And, I expected him to be, but also I looked at him and looked at his leg patterns and stuff, and I felt like I was confident I could catch him.
Yeah, so you're coming off like a few wins in some of the big shows. Like you were, you got that win over Maximov at Submission Underground, and there was something else you did before that too. I'm trying to remember what, but you're coming off a few wins, man. Like you feeling like you're getting back in the groove?
Well, dude, I'll be honest with you, and this is just, people being real, like, maybe my head wasn't where it should have been a long time ago, and when I took that loss to Andrew Alexander, that was really rough on me like that. But I mean, I came back from it. So anybody wants to talk shit, fuck you. I mean, not trying to sound bad, but it is what it is. But how many people you see lose like that come back? You gotta be a zombie in this sometimes.
Yeah, dude.
And I did my work. I didn't complain. I took my loss. I tried to fix my problems, and the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So I did something different, and I'm getting a little older or whatever, but I feel like I'm still gaining ground. I'm getting better. So
yeah, I mean, you look like you've never been better, and like the thing I'm really noticing in your game is you've always had it. You've always had a good pressure passing style and good top game, but now like people are so afraid of the leg lock game that you kind of get to show off a little bit more of your jiu-jitsu,
Oh yeah, for sure, because it's like this, and Sean Hammond's actually helped me with this. Like he told me, and it made like a ton of sense to me. But he was like, your passing will make your leg locks 50 times more effective, and the same goes for your passing. So now, dude, sometimes it can be really hard to, and you know what I'm talking about, sit back on people because their defense is so good and everything. You got to cook them a little bit. You got to wear their hips out. And this is not me trying to talk bad, but sometimes some of the leg lock guys are, not, used to pressure and stuff. And so, a few people have really rolled with me trying to pass and stuff, and they'll get the, I can generate a decent amount of pressure, and I'm able to cook people before I set back for their leg, and it's a lot easier to catch it then for me.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And something I remember the first time you came down, or not the first time, it was right before that match with Ian Murray when you were down at 155. One of the local black belts was like, what really makes Joe dangerous is the fact that even when he's small, he has that pressure from being a big guy. Like, how to distribute your weight,
Yeah.
And that's not something that a lot of people really figure out, especially the smaller guys. They're trying to move and they're trying to like just tire people out. They don't really know how to sit and cook, like you're saying. And I think that's one of the most underrated things about your game, because I've seen you put some fucking pressure on people, and I felt you put some pressure on me. Like, that is one of the fucking scariest things. Like, yeah, your leg locks are fucking scary, but your pressure is something else.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's nice to have that too, but I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Like, if a guy, that's why I like playing deep half so much, is because you can kind of absorb the pressure and you can kind of be lazy a little bit. But man, like all other guards, when you're doing the flat passing, is like just you just eat that pressure. And I try to stay moving, even though I know I may get a little tired. I don't care what kind of condition they're in; they're getting tired, like a lot more than I am.
Yeah, it makes sense. And so is it this weekend or next weekend, the Bigfoot coming up?
This weekend, man, I got a really tough fight for it. I don't know if you know who Joshua Bolin is.
Yeah, I saw the poster.
Yeah, he won Master World's heavyweight, Nogi, or Masters won heavyweight Nogi at black belt last year.
Badass. That's gonna be a fucking good match.
Yeah, man. I have nothing negative to say, man. It's going to be a war. It's one of those you're just like, man, this is going to be a tough fight to win. Those are the ones you want, though. Like, I'm trying to push myself to evolve and stuff, but I really want to catch him. I really, really want to submit him. So, we'll see what happens. I guess he's tough though. A really good dude too.
So what's the rule set for that match?
Man, we do it kind of like Abu Dhabi. It's like a 8-minute match. The first 5 minutes are no points, and then the last 3 minutes are points. But if it goes to referee's decision, no points are scored, the referee has the final say. There's no overtime. So, if somebody's unhappy, they shouldn't let it go to the decision. So. Yeah,
dude, I like that mentality about yourself, because we talk about it a lot, because you got a match coming up for Zapatero under EBI rules, and like, I know you're not a huge fan of the overtime, but you said it over and over again. Like, if you can't finish it in regulation, that's on you. You fucked up.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I feel like that's something that's kind of in any rule set. I feel like that's something that's lost on the newer generation, or these guys, they all want to compete in their specific rule set that they like. And they don't like these competing outside of the comfort zone, and they're going to constantly bitch about the overtime rules or like the point rule set. Like, your job is to go in there and submit people. Like, if you don't fucking do that, that's your fault, you know?
Oh yeah, like man, if I don't finish someone, I'm fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people realize that. Like, man, I'd rather get finished than not finish someone. Like I don't want to win by points. I don't want to win by that overtime stuff or whatever either. I won't. You know, I've lost every time I went to overtime. So
yeah, you're really a killer be killed kind of guy, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's just my expression of jiu-jitsu. Maybe it's not the best. Maybe I should maybe change it for, you know, like winning purposes. But man, I don't know. It's just something about the kill.
Yeah. No, dude, I get it. I'm the same way. Like, I was thinking about last few times I've competed. It's like, I just don't give a fuck about points, you know? Like,
oh no.
And Chill said something about it too. He's like, he's got a motivational video on YouTube from years ago talking about how he wants to be known as a tough guy. And the tough guy is the guy that doesn't matter if he's down by 99 points or up by 99 points. He's still going for the kill no matter what, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, essentially that's all that matters. I mean, like if, you know, it's kind of hard to do these kind of matches. I know they did with Kyle and Gordon just recently, but if we were to do like an old type, you know, old school catch wrestling type deal, like where you just went until there was a you know, a definite winner, like by submission or whatever, then man, it would go forever. But typically when you have no time limits, you see that they don't go that long. I mean, I know that's kind of weird. Now, me saying that, somebody will do it and there'll be a match go like 12 hours or something, but
yeah, it's crazy because I remember Aguzzi with Grappling Industries was running that only submission only tournament for a while, and he said his like average match time was like about 5 minutes, you know? So like you do have those matches that go for hours, but you also have matches that end in 30 seconds, and it averages out to be about 5 minutes each match, you know? So I mean, it makes sense to me. So I got a question here from Ruben, and this was actually something I was going to ask you too. He was talking about which one's more fun when you compete at a 55 or heavyweight. As a smaller guy, he says, I can imagine having fun. I couldn't imagine having fun with those big fuckers. So, like, dude,
bigger guys are easier, man. Bigger guys are easier. I mean, a bunch of them be like, what are you saying? No, man, I'd rather go. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're top of the top. If this makes sense, you're top of the, like, top, like Gordon Ryan. Of course, he's the best. But the ones under him are not that close to him. Now, you get down to 55, every fucking body is tough, man. That, like, everyone. You'll hear guys you've never even heard of, and they will give you wars. Like, It's not that way at heavyweight.
Yeah, that's true. And I definitely think, especially now, we're seeing, like, that older generation come through. And, I mean, you're part of that old generation, but I feel like you still stay relevant. A lot of these older guys in the sport, they're not competing as much as they used to. They're trying to pick and choose, you know. So like that old guard, especially at heavyweight, starting to die off. And we don't really have a new guard coming up yet. Like, yeah, we do have the Nicky Rods and a few of them, but like that next wave is still kind of coming. It's going to take a while. So that heavyweight division is going to be kind of shallow for a while, I think.
Yeah, especially for our type of, you know, the submission only stuff, which I'm not going to go into, because that's a whole different conversation, the IBJJF and everything. But for me, this is the purest form. How many world champions in IBJJF do you see get broke off? Like, not trying to sound bad, but just like last weekend, what happened in under a minute?
Yeah,
you know, it's a common thing. And it's just because of a simple rule change. Which, how can you be an OG world champion and not deal with heel hooks? You know. I mean, my next guy, I think, is very fluent with heel hooks and stuff, so it's not going to matter. It's going to be a tough fight regardless. But a lot of them, not training them, I just don't understand it.
Yeah, 100%. I don't get it either. Like, to me, it's like it goes back to like self-defense versus sport debate too. It's like, do you want to be the black belt that can't deal with being punched in the face? It's the same thing. If you don't know how to defend yourself against strikes, you don't know how to defend yourself against heel hooks. Like, are you really a fucking black belt?
Well, I mean, you know, and this is a question for you, I guess. Does it bother you that there's guys that are black belts today that have never been punched in the face?
Man, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to.
I mean, at least somebody should like taste their own blood while they're going for a submission, man, to see what could. Yeah, I don't know. Even if you got to hit each other, man. Do that. I mean, I'm not trying to sound bad, but you can look at me and tell I've had hell beat out of me
Yeah.
over my life. But
yeah, I used to really think about that. I used to think that every like person who got a black belt needed to have like some MMA experience, and that's why I fought MMA, because I wanted to see how my grappling would do with strikes. And now that I think about it more like from different perspectives, it's like I'm thinking about one of my students right now, Scully. He's 60 years old and he's a brown belt. And he's never fought MMA, but he's also boxed before, So
yeah,
like he was a high level boxer. So like he kind of like comes to my mind. It's like, man, I don't want to see that guy going out there competing.
Well, he knows how to deal with strikes.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Some of these guys don't. It's just we've lost the self defense to it. And I'm not even saying they got to fight MMA, but it still goes back to that part. Do you know how to disarm someone with a knife? And they go, man, the best thing to do is run. You can't always run.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that also comes down to, if we're like just talking about self-defense in general, I think that comes down to the fact that we shouldn't be one-dimensional in general. Like we all need to know how to it. And it's the same thing I talk about like with cops and stuff like that. It's like you need to be able to box, you need to be able to do wrestling, you need to be able to do jiu-jitsu, and you need to be able to deal with firearms, So like, I mean, fuck, I'm sponsored by a fucking ammo company. Like I'm fucking carrying all the time, So it's like, if a guy has a knife, I have a fucking gun, like, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's my shit. But yeah, I do think we need to be able to deal with strikes, deal with weapons and stuff like that, because I think Tom posted something about that too. He's like, best defense is running away. But like, if it comes down to it, like, yes, I'm going to take that fucking knife from you. I might get stabbed a couple times. You're not going to fucking kill me. I'm going to get that knife and I'm going to kill you first,
Yeah, it will, man. It's like I said, it's a long thing, but a lot of it's dependent on where you get cut at, and a lot of that you can control, and then you're able to, but it's just stuff that people should know, and just like with cops in general, like how in the hell they are not made to learn jiu-jitsu is beyond me.
Yeah.
Like especially in today's time, like there is so many black belts that just do so much charity stuff. They would gladly go and teach these guys. But I mean, and here's the thing too, it comes and I'm not trying to get off the subject of what we're on, but it's a sad thing. Like if I have a bad day or you have a bad day and you have like a mental episode, or not even just like us, or just like some just muscled up big person, we shouldn't have to get shot just because they can't control us.
Yeah.
They should. I mean, there's nothing wrong with us. We just had, a moment of dementia or so, because stuff like that happens. Maybe somebody accidentally took some sort of wrong kind of medicine or what have you, or maybe it's some young kid who made a mistake and took some hallucinogenics. It's just huge. They shouldn't have to get shot. Yeah, you should have to control them. I mean, now don't get me wrong. If it's a life or death situation, yeah, but you just don't go straight for lethal force.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I totally agree. And like, this is something that, like, I train cops for free. And when I made that video, I had 2 cops come in. One of them quit. One of them still trains, and I'm half a mile from the police station. And my firearms coach is constantly trying to train the cops for free. There's something about, and part of it is like, it's not mandated. And 2, they don't make a shit ton of money, but like, there is something about a laziness or like an entitlement a lot of cops have, they don't want to get out of their comfort zone. It's the other thing I see it too is in military guys. Like, I don't know about you, but I know so many military guys that came in to try a class and they only made it a month because their ego couldn't take the fact that they weren't top dog, so that's a problem as well. But I tell them all the time, it's like, look, we're lucky that most of the jiu-jitsu schools around here are really good people. But there are some fucking MMA gyms that are filled with assholes and fucking criminals, and they're really well trained. What are you going to do when they cause problems and you have to detain them? Are you going to fucking shoot them? Because you're sure as hell not going to fucking get them down and cuff them.
Yeah, that's a whole other subject. And it's like another thing too, they'll go for the batons or whatever, or the extendable sticks or whatever, and they don't even know how to properly use them. And most of the time, you see them get them taken away, and they get hit with them. unsafe for everyone.
Yeah, man, it sucks because like there's no right answer. It needs to be a systematic reform on all this stuff. But like I'll say it again and I'll keep saying it. It's like if you're a police officer and you're not training your boxing, wrestling, grappling, and firearms a couple times a week, and it sounds like a lot, but like, a couple hours, 4 hours a week, you get fucking 24 hours in a day, 4 hours a week of training. You need to be doing that at a minimum to stay ready. And if you're not only doing yourself a disservice, you're doing the community a disservice. And like, we all want to see you guys go home safe. We want to fucking go home safe too. So it's like, if you're not doing it, you're just fucking lazy,
Well, I think just like I haven't seen, for the most part, because we're pretty much real with each other. Like probably 95% of the people I seen go into jiu-jitsu, it made them better people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and they talk about the douchebag filter. I'd say probably 90%, just like you, I've seen they've become better people. It weeds out the assholes. But you do have to be a little careful because there are some environments with fucking douchebags. And we see it all the time. Instructors raping their students and fucking like grooming their students. If you find one of those and a douchebag comes in, it's like a fucking douchebag multiplier. Like you take a piece of shit and you teach them how to break somebody's arm. Like, but that's a whole other fucking problem, But yeah, 90% of the time it fucking makes people better people. So you kind of talked about jiu-jitsu with strikes and stuff like that. I know for a while you were talking about going back to MMA and you were talking about it again. Is that still something you kind of have on your mind?
Man, I kind of came to an epiphany with everything. You can never say never for anything, but I don't have – because, man, once I get to where I feel like I can no longer compete like in the pro divisions, I guess, I'm not going to just dive and I'm not – and this is my own personal decision. I'm not shitting on anybody else. So everybody's path is different. But at this point, I do not plan on, exclusively competing in my age division or whatever. So at that time, I'll probably just focus on teaching. And, I've been really active over the last 20 years. So I'm not ready for a break anytime soon. But when it comes, it probably will be permanent, and I'll just focus on like teaching and training,
Yeah, that makes sense, man. Now, how much, because you're under Deblass now, how much of him has helped your mental game, because I know like you're in Kentucky, he's in Jersey, and you train at Gracie Owensboro, which Josh is also under Deblass. So it's not like you get to train with him every day, but like I know you guys talk a lot. Like how much of that has really helped your competitive mindset?
Man, beforehand, like you hear stuff about everyone, but I'll tell you this about Tom. Like, man, he pretty much cares about everyone. Like, if you're with him, don't get me wrong, he's gonna, if he believes he's right on something, he's one of those guys who he don't care to like clap somebody in the face or whatever. It's just how Tom is. But like, dude, there's not a better person, more real person. Like, I love the guy. And I, know very little of him, but just the dealings I've had with him talking to me and everything, man, and we've had some pretty deep conversations. He's a good person. Like I won't, I won't say that about a whole lot of people. Like he's golden, man. I really think a lot of Tom.
Yeah, so when I saw that you went under him, I thought that was a good thing immediately because you guys both came from that same generation, So like he knows the stuff that you've gone through coming up, and he just seems to have a really good way of talking to people and finding a way to bring the best out of people,
Well, and also this is the first time within jiu-jitsu. I've always worked with Gokor and stuff, but this like Tom's game's pretty similar to my own, like with the deep half, the half.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, he's like a juggernaut, man. A lot of that stuff, I'm just too little. Like I'm like the little midget him or something. I can't do that stuff because he's like gigantic, like he can give up an underhook and he's perfectly fine with it. If I do that, I'm screwed,
Yeah.
So we got some different games, but I definitely learned like a whole lot off of his half guard systems and his framing. Like I use a lot of his framing a lot and just from different positions, it's really helped me. Like recently, I feel like I've made some huge jumps in my like reverse heel hooks, my straights, and my deep half, and I credit a lot to a lot of what I've learned from Josh and what you learned from him.
Yeah, that's really cool, and like it says a lot about somebody's half guard game that you learned something from it. Because dude, you're a fucking half guard master. Like you've been playing half guard since before it was fucking cool, And the fact that you can pick something up from Deblass and stuff, and I'm sure he's picking stuff up for you as well. Like it just seems like a really fucking great melding of the minds. But you talked about how big Tom is, and you're not the biggest heavyweight. You got a fucking big guy coming up here at Zapatero. Like, Chad's pretty fucking big, man. Like, and we kind of hit on it in the beginning. You went from heavyweight all the way down to 55. You were talking about 45 at one point. I remember that. And then you went back up to like 85, and now you're back up to heavyweight, 205. What made you want to settle in at heavyweight, and what do you think about this match with Chad?
Well, originally I don't know if everybody's been watching my progression, but I've been slowly trying to build up. And my main goal was to make one. If I could win trials one more time, I would be happy. I'm going back to the weight class that I won at to begin with. Physically, I'm in a ton better shape now, even though it's over a decade later. But, I feel better at heavyweight. I enjoy, being able to lift. I enjoy being able to eat. I just can't eat completely like crap. But anytime when you're coming up, it's just part of it. You're going to get a little bit of fat along with it. So, but I'm happy. I mean, I feel like I'm healthy. My cardio's good. My wrestling and stuff is not bad. So,
dude, that'd be pretty fucking epic if a decade later you won in the same weight class that you originally won in. I can just imagine the side-by-side picture, because I've seen the picture of you when you won last time. Like you said, you're fucking roly-poly, But like seeing you now, like I could just imagine it, standing there on the podium, first place, and putting it side by side with the one, because that was 2011 you won.
2010, yeah.
2010, yeah. I can imagine the fucking side by side. Like 10 years later, you fucking won it again. That'd be pretty fucking epic.
Yeah, it'll be in New Jersey the same. So like I said, I placed third before, and then I won my first match, and I lost to Stefan Martinez.
He's good.
And I guess that was 2014. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2014. And I haven't competed in it since. But man, I feel like I'm dangerous. Like I watch Tim Spriggs. I think he's very good, but I match up bad against him. So
yeah, stylistically, it's a good matchup for you. We saw what Craig did to him too, so that's a good match for you.
Yeah, and I have a lot of respect for Tim. It's nothing, it's nothing like that. But man, I got to win. I don't know how else to put it. Like that's my goal. That's the whole reason putting on size coming up. I wasn't just eating cheeseburgers and everything. I ate some of them, of course. I'm not saying that, but like I've been lifting like crazy and stuff. Been like busting my ass trying to get stronger, where I can, be competitive in this division and not just be overpowered.
Yeah, 100%. So before we get back to the Zapatero match, let's talk about your strength and conditioning a little bit, because you've hit on it a few times. Like, what does your strength and conditioning look like? How many days a week are you lifting? Like, what do you do?
Well, this quarantine kind of slowed down things a lot, but I have a bunch of free weights and kettlebells. So I've been doing a bunch of dumbbells primarily. Now I'm able to lift again. I'm back in the gym for the last couple of weeks, but I was still able to put on size, so I was happy about that. I'll just depending, because my job's pretty physical.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do some like pretty crazy stuff there that I'll count as a workout, and I won't even try to lift that day. But yeah, like I'll normally condition on a bike, ride 4 or 5 miles, whatever, and then, lift. And always, if I can, I try to lift before I roll, where I have to rely just on technique.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good thing. Then you told me you were lifting some pretty fucking heavy weight. Like you hit me up the other day and said your deadlift was like over 545 or something like that.
No, like I got what it was is after I got done training, I was pretty tired and stuff, and I was just wanting to see what I could get. I got 5:15 pretty easy.
That's pretty fucking insane after training. Like,
yeah,
dude, like, especially like, because like you're big, but you walk around like a fucking old man. So like,
I feel like an old.
but like, just thinking about you deadlifting over 500 pounds with your fucking frame, that's fucking insane, man. Like, that's some scary, and that kind of goes back to like the braking mechanics on the leg locks too. Like, the braking pressure comes from that deadlifting motion, man. So like, I can't imagine, because I know you have a shit ton of leg breaks. I can't imagine if somebody was being stubborn on you now, like how quick that shit would snap.
I don't know. I hope they would tap. And I know some people think that purposely. I don't know, man. People are idiots. Like, man, I could like Go-Core taught me a long time ago. Now this can be looked at good or bad, but you give people one chance to tap. If they don't take it, it's on them. And that's why I go very aggressively into the submission. But the window may be small, but I'll always give somebody a chance to tap, especially in a reverse heel hook, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember specifically when you were in that 185 division in Kentucky, like that first match, like you gave that kid, I don't even remember the guy's name, but you gave him a lot of chances to tap. And then you applied, it crackled, you let it release a little bit so he could tap, and then he wouldn't. You fucking applied it again. And like, some people are just too dumb, you know?
Yeah. I felt really bad because he was young, but at the same time, I mean, it's a pro division. You got to, it's like we've talked about before. If you don't want to break people's stuff, you don't want to win. You know, don't do this. Like, here's the thing: if I get my stuff broken, and I've been mangled, man. I've had some things happen, but it was on me. It's my own fault. So they can't say he's going to get his own karma. I've already had this karma. I've already had the bad stuff happen. You know, it's the hurt game. Sometimes you know. Luckily, I've had enough sense to tap when I've been in some very bad positions. Just like when you watched Doral hook me up on a reverse heel hook, I didn't play with it.
Yeah.
I knew I was caught. Other things, yeah, I will let my feet pop a little. You know, I think everybody does, but it's just depending. I've came out of a lot of positions and ended up leg locking them where my foot popped. So it's, I think that's with everyone.
Yeah, speaking of Rao, I remember when him and Josh were in the finals of that 85 division, and Rao got him that inside. Joe went over to him after. He's like, "Hey, Josh, you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't fucking play with insides, though."
No, you can't, man.
Yeah, and you said it too. Like, you've been mangled before, so I think, especially with the young guys, it sucks, but they have to kind of go through that where they get their shit snapped a couple times before they smarten up, because so many of them are just filled with piss and vinegar and fucking want to go after everybody. Like, sometimes you just got to learn the hard way,
Well, I tell, just like I was talking to my wife, I was like, the number one rule that you cannot do is look at them to see their facial expression, because never assume that they're going to tap. You're going to break their leg or dislocate their joint. You're never going to look at their face to see if they're going to tap. Now, don't get me wrong. If I'm doing like a Grappling Industries or, some sort of tournament like that, and I know a guy's pretty green and I've caught him and I know I've got him, man, I'm going to be pretty slow about how I do it. And I might even say something to him like, yeah, you need to tap, but it's the difference. So like when you're like a black belt or somebody in a pro division, like, dude, that's on you. I'm not saying that to you. If you get your stuff busted, it's your fault, the same as it would be mine if I let mine.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so before I let you go, let's talk about this title fight coming up. This is your second shot at a Zapatero title, and this time at heavyweight. And you and Chad have been like, you were supposed to grapple a few times. It kind of never happened. And now we get to do it down here for the heavyweight title in Zapatero. And he just switched teams. Like, I forget where he was before. I think it was Roberto Travin before. But now he's down at Fight Sports. Like, that's a pretty solid team, and he's a fucking big guy. So what do you think of going into that match?
Man, they're going to have some good things. But what I do, I can't do what they do, but at the same time, a lot of my setups and stuff, it can't be replicated. So, he's got a great team. It's going to be a very tough match. I respect Chad a lot, but I feel like I'm going to get the finish. So
So what does winning a Zapatero title mean to you? Because I know we've talked about it before. Like it's been one that you wanted to get on your mantle, and I got a fucking nice belt coming for this one. So like, what's it mean to you not only to win a major title for like one of the major sub-only promotions, but also in the adult division?
Man, it's a big deal for me because, especially with this is kind of it's kind of a loaded answer here. Like, I get to show in my mind, that if I'm able to do this and be successful, which I have every intention of being, all respect to him, but I get to show that, heel hooks work on anybody regardless of size. So I get to show that. And also, like, man, this is kind of the leg lock deal. This is one of the few things I care about. I know that sounds bad, but I never cared about an IBJJF world title. Like, I mean, I don't really, the gi, I think it's a really big deal. No gi, I still think it's a big deal. But after that, man, they got too many divisions for too many different champions. Now, some of those guys are super, super tough, especially at black belt. Every division, everyone is tough. You switch down to brown belt, you go Masters 2 at brown belt. A lot of those guys will lose in the blue belt division of the adult there. So it's kind of hard to take it real serious, unless you're at black belt. So, it's just, this is something that I've wanted a long time. It's one of the few things I've wanted. Now, and I will admit it. I tried not to say, like, am I going to win an EBI title or whatever? Very doubtful. I think I'm dangerous for anyone. Like, if they come out and hand me their leg, I'll twist it in two. But that's, typically not going to happen. I feel like this is achievable, and it'd be a huge deal for me to win it.
Yeah, and you talked about EBI. Like, that's the other thing right now is there's no more EBI. It's combat jiu-jitsu. So somebody asked me too, it's like, what do you think, like, the title to win in sub-only is? And, I mean, with EBI gone, it's got to be either this or finishers. Like, we're the only two shows running, like, the EBI rules, and then a fight to win's the other one, like fight to win, but that's not EBI rules, that's sub-only. No. And dude, their titles are fucking. We saw Barboza and Barboza and what's his name, Lovato, and your card go at it. So like that's another thing that I'd love to see you do is get a shot at that Masters white belt title, especially at heavyweight, because like that's another one I think you could fucking win and have a good time with it. But yeah, man, I'm excited to have you and Chad on there. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, man. He, like I said, good dude, nothing but respect. But I mean, gotta take his leg. I don't know what else to say. He knows what I'm going to do. I know he's going to try to smash on me. Maybe look for the overtime. Maybe not. I don't know. But
yeah, that's the interesting thing about this match is we both know what both of you are going to do. You're going to try to leg lock him, and he's going to try to smash you and try to probably take an arm or something like that. So like it's who gets to impose their game plan. So it's going to be a fun one to watch.
And if it comes down to it, like even if this was just on jiu-jitsu terms, I do feel my jiu-jitsu without the leg locks is stronger. But I don't know what he's picked up there. Maybe he's gotten better than what before. But, do I feel like I can sweep him? Do I feel like I can pass his guard, take his back? Of course, I doubt it's going to take that route. We know what route it's going to go. But he's very strong. He's very dangerous. But, I'm very motivated and had a lot of big wins and stuff. So, I feel confident I'm going to take it.
Sweet, man. All right, Joe, I'm going to let you go, man. Thanks for coming on here and talking with me a little bit, bud. Congrats again on all the wins, man, and I'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you, brother.
All right, see you, dude. All right, that was the man, Joe Baize. So, very excited. He's going up against Chad Fields, who I'm having on tomorrow on the podcast to get his take on the match. It's going to be July 18th down here in Palmetto, Florida. Zapatero Invitational. We're also having the 155 qualifying division. So that's exciting, and a 16-man open weight tournament on that card. Right now, there's only 50 spectator tickets. You got to go to eventbrite.com to get them and get them before they sell out, because I am not taking 51. I'm taking 50, and that's it. So this is going to happen 100%. Right now, we got fans. If things get worse, I'll remove the fans, and through Eventbrite, it's going to be very easy for you guys to get refunds. So go ahead and get your tickets now while you get the chance. I'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. with Chad Fields. He is the other side of the Zapatero heavyweight title. Very excited to talk with him. Fight Sports black belt now. He was under Roberto Travin, and he's very successful, and looking forward to talking to him tomorrow and get his thoughts on the match as well. So until then, go check out the sponsors, Nogi Nation, Liberty Ammunition. Buy some shit because, they're a good company and they pay me. So thank you. I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe. Bye.